everybody. Welcome back to Round Numbers Podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across the week about topics you want to hear about. Today, I'm joined by the amazing Gloria Esoimeme. Hi, Gloria.
Hi, Sarah. Thank
How
you
are
for
you?
having me. I'm doing excellent. How about yourself?
I'm doing so good. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. So, I invited Gloria to be on the show because she is incredible. She is a physician, speaker, and a negotiation coach that just moved here from the States. Please, Gloria, tell me your story and we'll get you started.
Thank you. So my story it's a relatively it's a journey with lots of twists and turns. So I'm originally Nigerian. I was born in Nigeria and then moved to the US. And then I did my med school in Nigeria, then moved to the US, did my master's, did my PhD, then did my residency in internal medicine, lived in the US for like a decade and a half, and then I just moved to the UAE. In the UAE, I am working on my speaking more than my medicine. I still want to practice medicine. It's the greatest honor of my life to be a doctor. I'm still going to do that, but I want to do more speaking and coaching here in the UAE.
I love that. So, what exactly has inspired you to become a speaker and a kind of negotiation expert in the UAE?
You know what, Sarah? It's it's so It's so painful when you see many women, especially women more than men, when they shortchange themselves. You see people who go for like job in interviews and then they give them a contract and they take the first contract. I'm like, you could have gotten more. They're like, oh no, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not fine. You could have gotten more. Let's say, for example, you shortchange yourself by 10,000 dirhams and you sign a contract for 3 years. That's like 30,000 dirhams by which you've shortchanged yourself. And then imagine if you invest that money, the compound interest that all of that would accrue, you've lost all of that. Meanwhile, if you were able to negotiate, then that's more money in your pocket. That aside, money is the list of it's not the only money. I won't say money is the list. Money is not the only place where women shortchange themselves. You see, a woman wants she wants promotion. She's scared. She knows she wants it, but she's gonna act like she doesn't want it. And when they go, but when she doesn't get it, she says it's fine. No, it's not fine. If you really want it, then you need to set yourself up for that promotion that you desire. So it's just things like that. I kept seeing that over and over and over again, and I realized that that's a huge gap. And how do you change people? We change by the things we hear. So I made up my mind to speak about this as much as I can, just so women can get what they truly deserve without that fear, without that pressure.
I love that. And what would you say has been your biggest challenge in creating that space for women to feel more empowered to speak up for themselves?
The men and women listen to my podcast. The interesting thing is that men reach out to me more. They go like, yes, men, and my podcast is negotiation mastery for women. I talk about women having kids, being a mother, but I would have men reach out to me and say, hey, I'm Dr. Gloria, how would I handle a situation like this? So I think it's just that not speaking up, not asking for what we want. I think, and it's just so ingrained. So that's the biggest challenge is women do not ask. That's my biggest challenge. Like, and if someone is not asking, then how do you give?
I feel that. And how do you get women to be more confident to ask the question?
Um, it's for me to speak to them more, to try to normalize their fear and let them know it's not unusual to have those fears. It's not unusual to sometimes feel like you're not good enough. So if a woman and a man they go to a meeting, the woman wants to have all her I's dotted and all her T's crossed before she speaks. But men, they don't know. Even when they're not sure, they just speak. And the
Mhm.
more you speak, the more people know you, then the more you're giving promotion. Although if you do it the other way, if it's to the extreme, then it might backfire. But the more you speak, the more you show your knowledge. That's how people would know that you're qualified for that position. But what I've seen is that women they're just afraid to speak. So it's just normalizing it, letting them know, oh, you're afraid. All right. So when you're going for a meeting, this is what you do. So you have that confidence to speak. So it's just to keep speaking and trying to identify all the weak points that they have, all the fears, and try to let them know that fear is normal. We just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. No one feels comfortable. You just have to push yourself a little bit more to get to where you're going.
I love that. Snaps for being uncomfortable and then being comfortable after that. I love that. So my next question to you, Gloria, is what do you feel is something that was super impactful or a milestone for you that really changed how you kind of how your journey went?
So it would be going to med school. It changed my life. Every other thing is kind of like the icing on the cake because that gave me an understanding of how people think. So it's not just like it's not because I'm an internal medicine doctor. I treat patients with serious illness. So I see people from 18 years and older. So I see lots of people, and it gives me just that. It gave me access to people. So some days I see 10 people and I'm asking them questions, asking them about their jobs, asking them about their families. So that's I think that's a turning point, giving me access to people who would answer me genuinely just because I was a doctor. That's the turning point. And then it also gave me credibility. People would know, or people would assume that I'm smart. People would assume that I have the ability to follow through because going through med school is difficult. So if I could go through med school, people would know, okay, they would give me credit. So it gives me credit. So I think that's the biggest turning point in my life.
What is your favorite thing about what you do?
I love people, Sarah. So what I do gives me access to people. The place where I used to work in the US, my patients are like family. So like I look at my schedule. I'm like, oh, I have this patient coming in today. I'm excited, not necessarily because I'm excited about their hypertension. I'm excited to follow up. I'm like, oh, so what happened? That's thing that happened. So what happened? You say you were gonna do this. So what happened? I'm there talking and laughing. So that's just like I absolutely love.
That is so beautiful. My final question to you today, Gloria, is what word of advice would you want to share with the listeners today?
I want to say the if you because I'm a negotiation coach, so I think it would just be let me leave a nugget with whoever's listening. So the foundation of negotiation is knowing what you bring to the table, knowing your value. I'll tell you a story. And so the first time I was in Dubai was February this year. So I went to one of the souks and I wanted to get the outfit we wear to the mosque. And I didn't know what the value, I didn't know what the price was. And I was on a tour. We're going to go through the gold souk, the spice souk, and then the one for fabric. And so before I didn't know they were going to take us through. So before I met with the tour guide, I said, okay, let me get a few so I can take back to the US. And the guy said it was 250 dirhams. And I did the math. I'm like, $50, that's fine. And then I said, no, I know. I said 200 dirhams. And he said, this is really expensive. Da, da, da. He said, okay. And then he gave it to me. And I felt really cool with myself. I'm like, well, I was able to negotiate and all of that. And then when the tour guide came, he said, oh, please do not buy anything here. It's a little bit expensive. I'll take you somewhere where you can get these outfits for 50 dirhams. I was like, wait a minute. Right? So that's the same thing, right? So if you are applying for a job, that was low stakes. It was low stakes. I'm like, it was just an outfit. But if you're applying for a job, have an idea of what they pay people. Know what the vacation time is. So do your due diligence and then start with that. Because if I knew it was 50 dirhams, I would not have given that guy 200 dirhams. I would have walked out of his store if he wasn't going to give me what I wanted. Same thing with women. So when I negotiate, I have in my mind, I have a value. I'm like, this is the least I'm going to get. I would negotiate. If it's close or if you're going to give me something in exchange, but it's still within that bracket, I would go for it. I don't just accept the first offer. The first offer is never the correct offer. So that's something I would like to live with, I guess.
The first offer is never the correct offer. I love that. I'm going to print that out, put it on my wall. I'm going to wake up to that manifestation every day. I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me today, Gloria.
Of course, it's my absolute pleasure.
And I'm just grateful that women like you out there are inspiring other women to speak up for themselves, stand up for themselves, do something better for themselves, not just accept and settle for what they have. Because men never settle, so why should women, right?
No, no, men do not settle. They don't. So we shouldn't either. And no one is forcing us to settle. We just choose to.
100%. Thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
message and reminding women that they can do much better and they should as well.
They should. Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Gloria. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.